Welcome to the Stitchergirl Podcast. This is going to be Flosstube number 18, and I'm calling it Haulapalooza because today's episode is all about haul that has come in since September. And in my last episode, Flosstube 17, I thought it was going to make too long of a video. Sorry, the cat just jumped off the bed, so we shook. I'm trying out a different setup here today. I'm in my bedroom because I thought the ceiling light was perfect for this, so I'm giving this a whirl. Yeah, so last episode I thought that things were going to go too long if I included the haul, so I decided to do a separate Flosstube for that. So it's not going to be chronological. Who am I? Yes, I'm Julia. This is the Stitchergirl Podcast. Things are always a little funny. Oh, Cherub is here. That wasn't a hi. That was like, what the heck is going on? Wellington is around too. So I don't necessarily remember when these things came in, but they came in sometime between September and within the last couple of days. Usually I get my stuff from, wow, Cherub, now's not a good time, honey. This is fun. Is this not fun? Yeah, okay, let's, oh, we're jumping down, and they're off. They've gone to another room. You may still hear them. They get very excited this time of night because it is nighttime. It's actually just after midnight. So like I was saying, I don't necessarily remember when I got them, but it was sometime between September and the last couple of days. Places I usually buy from are 123 Stitch, Threads Entwined. I do some of the stash unloading sites on Facebook, both Canada and US, as well Creative Quarters, that's Shelley in BC, and my local LNS Because You Count. But they officially closed Saturday, November the 28th. The ladies decided to retire, and this was a pre-COVID life decision. And so we will miss them, but we wish them well. And there are some other opportunities popping up locally. So stay tuned for more on that front. So first things first, I'm just going to grab. I know everybody's seen this already, but I did get this and I might have even showed it to you. And this is a wonderful magazine. And this is something that I would buy at my local NNS. Local NNS. I don't know what the hell that is, but my local NS. LNS. Thank you, Julia. You're just precious. But the there's a local quilt shop that's going to be taking over the account for these magazines, so I'll still be able to get it locally, which is wonderful. Now, if you've been watching Mama Loves GB, Mama Loves You GB, that's Michelle in Wales. She talks a lot about using black walnut crystals to dye with. And I was quite fascinated with that because I knew you could buy this spray, and I think people like Stacy Nash uses it. And so I was quite curious about that. But to buy a bottle already made is fairly expensive. I tried to source a Canadian supplier and I found it a little expensive for something like I wasn't too sure about, right? I didn't want to put out a lot of money for something I might play with once. So 123 Stitch has it, and it's called Walnut Ink Crystals. And it cost, I had the receipt here at one point. It wasn't that expensive, actually. Oh, here it is. It was $7.16 American. So what is that, like 10 Canadian? Then plus the shipping. And I ordered a couple of other pieces of fabric with it. But so if you go back and watch Michelle on her Flosstube channel, I think she has one video specifically on dyeing. And she explains to you how she does it. And, you know, you can mix it up, use a spray bottle, or you could do like an immersion dye technique. And this is, if you do junk journals, paper crafting, this is something you could make up a solution and you could use it to dye your papers, like using tea dye, right? Using tea bags. This is a product that is a lot of calligraphers and perhaps watercolorists, they use black walnut ink. And you might be able to find it at a really good art supply shop already mixed, but I think it's going to be more expensive. So I thought this was the way to go for the first time. Now, what else did I want to show you? So much. So I found on eBay a bright needle chart, and if you've been following me on Flosstube for a while, you will know that I have a soft spot for bright needle. Now, they're supposed to be designing again and releasing charts, but I haven't heard anything as of late. So I'm always on the lookout on the destash sites for some charts. And this one was on eBay, and this happens to be book number 1. Very exciting. Book number 1, and it's called Eastertide Sampler. So it kind of has that 9-patch quilt design look to it, like some of their earlier designs do have. It does say here, though, that the Eastertide Sampler was created in special thanks to the Is It Wednesday Yet Stitchers and to Pat Farron of In Stitchers, Chester, Virginia, for their enthusiasm, support, and friendship. It is framed slightly off kilter on purpose, recognizing the playful spirits of these wonderful stitching companions. So, I was very excited to get this, and yeah, so now they used a lot of anchor threads back in the day, and there is a DMC anchor conversion in here, and yeah, I thought this was a nice design. I mean, the color palette is pastels, but I think that's kind of normal for spring. You could probably prim this up a bit, and or you could make individual, if you had an Easter tree, some people have those, I could make individual little ornaments instead of making it as one piece. So that was very cool. And then a piece of fabric came with it. It's an R&R fabric. It's light cappuccino, but you know, half my stash just fell on the floor. Thank you very much, Cherub Sinclair. I haven't had anybody confirm this, but can somebody tell me, did R&R used to use a different fabric back in the day? because nowadays it's definitely Zweigart because of the orange thread in the selvage. But if this looks like witchelt, or I never say that right, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, so this was very exciting, and to get their first chart, and I'm putting it away right away because the cats are milling about, causing havoc as they do. Okay, so exciting. So then back in the beginning of September was my 1-year anniversary on Flosstube / YouTube. And I did a giveaway. I did a PDF pattern. It was a Sub Rosa design, and a fellow stitcher in Australia won it. So that was great. You know, shoom, the PDF goes right off to Australia. That was so easy, right? Easy peasy. And she wanted to send me something as a thank you. So shipping right now from Australia is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And I was very touched by this gesture. And she has a shop. It's Lisa Loves Stitching. I'll show you her card, Lisa. There's a hug in every stitch. Do you like that? And she has an Etsy shop where she has like scissor fobs, counting pins, even some things for knitters like progress keepers and the like. Now it came nicely in this cute little box, because apparently this was the only way she could send me something, was in a box like this. Because of COVID, this was the only way right now. And so everything came wrapped nicely in tissue paper. And look at the cute little koala. Oh my God. And of course I just ripped everything open because I couldn't help myself. But here, look at this. This is what I call a progress keeper. And it's a koala bear. Can you see him? Oh my God. Precious. And then this here now is, I never took some of these things out of the bags, but this is something I believe I could hang on my scissors. Do you see that? Isn't that sweet? It's got the lobster claw. And then this was a counting pin. So I purchased a couple of things and she put them in the box that she was sending to me. Now, I have been besotted with these teapot counting pins since she first showed them. And look at them. Isn't that just the bomb? I don't know if you can really see the teapot very well. I'm going to try not to injure myself for the cats. Can you see? Oh yeah, you can see the teapot really well now. So there's a pretty little bead inside and then the little pearl beads on top. If you've never used counting pins before, so you would use this to count your linen threads. And I think ideally you would have two. So you would have one at the starting point. So then you would count over to where you want to go. And then you could put that one there, stab it in where you think it's the right spot, and then take the other one out and count over so you can check twice. That's how I would do it. And this cute little, I don't know, is that a kookaburra? I don't know, but it's just so sweet. It came on this lovely little piece of fabric, and then I just about lost my whole shebang when I saw this, because I had been coveting one of these. And this is a scissor fob and it's got a cat on it. Like, I can't even tell you how freaking exciting this was. Now I gotta find something so it's gonna show nice. she makes these beautiful, beautiful fobs. Now, do you see the cat? Let me get this right. My big fingers are in the way. Oh my God. And then that's a little like crystal thingy jiggy at the bottom. And the different beads. And then this has a much larger lobster claw. But isn't that... I was so happy when I got that. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe she said that to me. And then this was one of the things I've ordered, and I have been talking about it in my floss tubes already. And I know corner gauges have been around for a while. Sorry, I always keep putting it back in the little plastic wrap. Oh. Corner gauge. It's an acrylic corner gauge. So what does that mean? It is see-through, number one. So if you get a flaw in your fabric and you're trying to figure out where you want to start, you can see the flaw. Now, what is super cool about this gauge is that it's got her name on it. Can you see that? Look, Lisa loves stitching. There's a 3-inch, 2.5, and a 2. And then there's little holes like where you could stick your needle in, and then you could lift off the corner gauge and your needle could still be in the spot where you want to start. But I love that it's acrylic and that it's see-through. But the acrylic is the bomb. Like, I just love it. I just love it, and I think it's phenomenal. I think everybody should have one. And so that's Lisa Loves Stitching. She has an Etsy shop, and she has a floss tube as well. We are currently doing a sale together. We're working on Halloween at Hollyberry Farm. So thank you very much, Lisa, for sending me all these goodies. It was my pleasure to send you a pattern, and it was my pleasure to buy from your shop. That was awesome. So those are treasures. 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 So Cherub is now sitting on a box watching the whole thing unfold. And Wellington is sitting there too. So we're all good. So I got a piece of Mallow fabric from 123 Stitch because I was curious to see what it would be like to stitch on, because if you're not familiar, Mallow is actually a linen cotton blend. And it's a very light color. It's not as, oh here, I've got some raw natural, so you can see the difference. The raw natural is darker. Yeah, I think the white makes it look better. Yeah, like that. So this one here in the front is the Mallow. The raw natural linen almost kind of looks like it's got a bit of a gray to it, and the Mallow linen is more beigey. So it feels stiffer than the linen does. It feels stiffer than the linen does. So there's going to be a nice tight weave. So I'm looking forward to trying that out to see what it's like. And I'd be curious to see how it takes dye too, with it being a mix of cotton linen. That would be fun to investigate. I did get this piece to do Santa's Trips by Barbara Anna. That was a sale that you can get on the Creative Poppy website. So we'll see how that goes. Now let's look at some charts. So Oh, Wellington is rubbing up against the box. Are you okay, babe? Baby, you're shaking everybody. Okay, so, Welly, you're shaking everybody, babe. So if you see a price tag on these charts, hello, Mom, 50% off. 50% off. I did not lose my mind completely. A lot of the charts that I got at my local LNS have price tags on them, and everything was 50% off there for the last few weeks. So this is Little Brick House by Lottie Daw. I have never seen this before, and that house is quite stunning, and it's not a big piece. And I said, girl, you got to get that because it's different. So that's what I did. Elizabeth Jones sampler. A lot of people have been talking about this one, I guess within the last year. I believe Carol Saltbox Stitcher was working on it, and it calls for DMC, and I believe Carol is using the DMC, and it looks lovely, and I do like that border. I do like that border. Yeah, very pretty. This is a fairly new pattern. I think it came out last year. Wellington. Baby, you're shaking us all up. Now, I have been intrigued with the charts from By the Bay Needlearts. And this is a thing. I've heard about them on Flosstube. It's maybe come up in something that I've been looking at. And then I went in my store one day, and I'm just going through patterns, and all of a sudden By the Bay was right there, and I'm like, wow. And I really like the look of them. So I believe it's a series. There's a spring and a fall. I didn't realize that at the time, but By the Bay Needlearts, she has a blog, so you should check her out. Check out my blog, bythebayneedleart.blogspot.com. Donna Bayless. Some really great patterns. I really like the look of them. So what's next on the list? What's next on the list? Well, how about a little Prairie Schooler? Prairie Schooler. I'm not sure if I showed you this one. It's called Trick or Treat. And this is, it's not cardstock. But I just love these little characters down here. Now Cherub is headbutting the thing. Cherub, I love you, but what's going on? What's going on? She's looking at me with these big eyes like, what's your problem? Like, this is my house, not yours. That's what she's saying, right? The Prairie Schooler. Anyways, so this is a ton of fun. Oh. Okay. Never a dull moment. The last time I went there, I just took the charts. I would take handfuls of charts, put them on the table, and I just went through them. Flip, flip, flip. And look what I found. The Let It Snow from 2007 with that wonky green snowman. And By the Chimney, the 2008 edition. So exciting. So that was exciting. Then I came across some Kathy Barrick, Kathy Barrick. And I have never stitched any of her pieces before, but I really like this one, Dear Santa. And this is from 2018, so it's not that old. It's 155 by 149. And she uses needlepoint sinks, but there's a DMC conversion. So I'm going to look forward to working on that one at some point. And then this one, I literally yelped in the store when I found this chart. And they were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm better than okay." Because I found good intentions. Who doesn't love this chart? I love this chart. I think it needs some purple though. But I love this chart. It is, what year did this one come out now? It came out, there has to be 2015. So I've seen many people stitching on this. Jen Lee, I've seen Jen Lee working on this and she finished it. And I'm like, I need this chart. And so this was very exciting. Yeah, very exciting indeed. Woohoo! Now, on a stash unloading site, I came across 3 charts that I thought were worthy of my love. Sheepish Designs. Now, I don't think they're doing anything anymore, but we're talking 80s here and 90s, the Sheepish Designs. I can't even say that right now. I'm a little flustered with the cats. This one has got Honeysuckle, which is a fave of mine. They're maybe not the easiest to stitch, but I do like them. Very simple, you know, letters, capital letters, little letters, some honeysuckle. From 1988, just love it. And I probably won't even change that color palette because it's dark purples and green. That's my jam. This one is lovely, Kind and True. And I think I figured out what it says. Be you unto others kind and true as you would have others be to you. Yeah, I find that font a little awkward to read. But, oh yeah, and this was the fascinating thing. That this is a chart from 1991. The model was stitched on 40 count. 40 count, and there's all these, what is it, satin stitch, but look at this grass at the bottom. It's wonky. Can you see that? Oh my god. And so I thought that was cool because it was different. Now this is a real treasure. This is a real treasure. I want to get her name right. Darlene Osteen recently died. The Needles Praise. This is the flower sampler. I love the urn with the flowers coming up the side. I love it. Now, Darlene Osteen just recently died in October, and I think if you... A lot of the different stitching Facebook groups, they posted her obituary if you go back and check. But she was quite a prolific stitcher and teacher of stitching. This sampler has specialty stitches, so that makes it very special too. Not just things like I consider satin stitch a more simple one, but rice stitch, the queen stitch is more challenging, the herringbone stitch, eyelets, and something called the Irish stitch. Now, isn't that just the Bargello stitch? Anyways, right here, there's like a zigzag pattern like you would see with Bargello. And I'm wondering, is Irish stitch another name for Bargello? Inquiring minds want to know. Anyways, I think this is a very special sampler, especially now that Darlene has passed. And I will work on this at some point with my own color palette. And it's quite a big chart too, surprisingly. 156 by 202, and the copyright on this was 1985. 1985. I was in grade 11. Back in the days of Duran Duran. Woohoo! So, another treasure that I found at my LNS. I'm not going to take it out of the thing. It's Rachel Howell's 1856. I think you all know this. If you've watched Carol Saltbox Stitcher, if you've watched Brenda and the Serial Starter, I mean, they've done this. I don't think Laura has done this. She might have started it. Nicole's Needlework. This is the Scarlett House, and this came out 2013. So you can see like samplers might be very popular when they first come out, and then there might be a lag, and then somebody will find it, discover it, and then they'll start talking about it on social media, and then woo, everybody wants to do it again. And kind of interesting how that works. So I got myself some Heartstring Samplery. Now I got the booklet, Consider the Lilies. I have the booklet for His Eye is on the Sparrow. I'm thinking I just might do it in DMC, because I really want the colors to be bright and vivid. And if I do it on 40 count, I mean, I've talked about this before, right? If you're using over-dyed cottons, hand-dyed cottons, and if there isn't a lot of variation in the colors, in the length of thread, why are you using it? Because you're not going to be able to see it on 40 count. So, using the DMC, I'm fine with that. You know, if I pull one of these threads and I look at it and I go, one of the overdyes, and I'm like, wow, there's really nice variegation in this particular skein, I'm going to use it, because then I think you're going to be able to see it. Now, I think she did hers on 30, oh, she did this one on 28 count, 1 thread over 2. I want my colors to be bright and vivid like the cover. So if I did it over 36, it would be that much. But it's a massive piece of fabric, you all. 435 by 363 stitch count. Yeah. I'm gonna have to let that percolate in my mind for a while. The Stitching Life. The sampler, The Stitching Life. Have you all seen this one? I'm not a fan of these bags. Have I ever told you that? I don't know how they get them in, and then I can't get them out, and then I gotta put them back in. Stitch count 150 by 223. So this, I always find it deceiving when there are a small little half-page chart like this, and then you look at the stitch count and you're like, but this is lovely. Is there a saying on this one? I could use a little more stitching in my life. 2016. Very nice. I think, now the fabric she used was Winter Brew, but I'm thinking Picture This plus vellum. because that looks like vellum to me. We'll see how I feel. Now, I've heard on the internet that there might be a stitch along happening for this particular chart, the cat sampler. I could have my arm twisted. This one again, it's a little deceptive. 173 by 134. It was done on 30 count Abecedarian. Isn't that gorgeous? I think Ellen Reed has done this. That is one big house. And the cat next to it there. That must be one of those Maine Coon cats, because it's just like humongous. And then this cute little pin cushion. I've always liked this one too. Stitch or Die pin cushion. Isn't that sweet? This, I think, came out around the same time as that sampler that I showed you as this one, because the color palette is pretty much the same for these guys. Like the threads that are used. Very similar. Yeah, they're both done on Winter Brew. Very sweet. Made even more sweet because there's a cat on it. The cats have completely disappeared now. They know Mama was not enjoying their antics. Okay, so what else do I have? Oh my goodness. So I found this ship's Manor chart at my LNS, because you count. And I'm like, that is so cool. I need to do this. Ship's Manor. Now, I think if I understand correctly, it's a gentleman designer. And he also dyes fabrics and threads. Eric Shipley. He's in Utah. This design is called Mr. Frost. Is that just not precious? I have never seen anything like this before. I can't say I've really seen many of his designs before. Does he do an annual stitch along? I think he does an annual stitch along. Anywho, I just love this. It's fun. It's really fun looking. And he will go well with my Barbara Anna's. That's what I'm thinking. So that was a lot of fun. Ship's Manor out of Utah. He must have a website. Shipsmanor.com. There you go. Check him out. Okay, so we all know Julie, Kansas City Julie in a Colorado World, and she's doing a snow day sale, and I'm like, oh, that's such a cool idea. I live in the Maritimes. It snows all the time. I should get a snow day sale project on the go. So I found this really sweet Twin Peak Primitives chart, the Snowmakers. And I got that from 123 Stitch. Now, I have started it, so I will show it to you. I am making some substitutions as I go along, because that's what I do. I change colors. But really, I wanted to show you the blue Vermeer fabric. This is 38 count blue Vermeer. Let's see. Blue Vermeer. Think icy gray blue. Icy gray blue. And I've started it. And I'm just using a variety of threads. Some silks, some overdyed, some DMCs. So see, I don't have her wand in yet, but she's like making the snow. I decided I wanted them to have brown skin. So this makes me think of, I belong to the Cross Stitch Nation, which I miss and which I haven't stitched on forever. And that was, I was doing that to the Representation Sales, Diversity and Inclusion. I was changing the skin tones on the people in that piece. How we doing? Do we need a bathroom break? We're doing good, folks. We're doing good. So this wouldn't be a Haulapalooza without some Barbarana, that's for sure. I'm not going to take these out of the plastic. This one is called Cinnamon Christmas. And there's two versions. One can be more brown and one can be more red. And I think I'm going to do the red one. Yeah. It's sweet like all the Barbaranas are. Those little snow people. And there's like there's a cat and there's a squirrel. Fun. And the other one is Let It Snow. I've seen this one a lot and I just finally said, that's it, we're doing it. So sweet on the scissors like that. And there's a little house and there's a tree with a cat under it. There's a few little houses, another squirrel, a snowman. How big is this one? 178 by 95. That's not bad. That's from 2013. This one, the other one is from 2012. And it's 200 by 122. Long and narrow. Very exciting. So, I found a Victoria sampler chart that I'm sure I knew about at some point in my life. I don't know what year that was, but I'm sure I knew about. I'm sure I know about this chart. It's a Canada sampler, meaning the design reflects Canada, and it's also made by a Canadian. So, yeah, my brain is just right now. Oh, I've been talking a lot, but this is called the O Canada Sampler, and you know, we don't seem to have a lot of Canadian themed pieces, and I saw this and I said, I'm going to get that one because it's quite nice. The colors are great. The different symbols and things, that's our Parliament building there. I just thought, well, that would be a nice little keepsake to make, and it's got a verse from the national anthem, got a fleur-de-lis, there's a beaver, a Canada goose, and our Latin motto, Ameri usque ad mare. You like that? Some maple leaves, and it's all done in DMC. These charts are great because if you've ever had a Victoria sampler chart, they always, like, there's great stitch diagrams and everything in them. And it explains, it kind of goes row by row. But it's all DMC except for, there's one needle necessity or threadworks. That's how old this chart is. And, oh, they even do some blended flosses. Blended DMCs. Some Krynic. 1989. Wow. I didn't realize this one was that old. 1989. I don't know where I was. Egypt? I don't know. So now we're going to have a little Blackbird. Haulapalooza. So this was very exciting. I feel like the light is fluctuating, but I think it's because I'm bouncing on the bed. But we need perfect light for Blackbird, don't we? Okay, so I've been coveting this chart too. I would go to the store and I would see it there and I'm like, no, no, no. And then as soon as they said everything was going to be 50% off and I saw it there, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. So this is the Deck the Halls. These are their berries. And Lisa Smith did them all. And she did she do a special tutorial on how she made them? And she even had that same ribbon, I think. And it was just... And she even did them on all the colored fabrics. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6. And there's finishing instructions, the strawberry template, and then if you wanted to do the box. If you didn't want to do berries, I think there was a different way of finishing them. Like, look here. Like that. That's a box top. But aren't they gorgeous? They're just... Yeah, see, look at the one with the house. Isn't that great? And the cardinal. So there were 2 ways to finish them. Anyway, so that's very exciting because I really want to do a strawberry. And I want to go to the pet store and get some of that lizard walnut shell litter, whatever it's called, the walnut shell. So this is a re-release, the flea market souvenir. And I love this one. I love this idea because if you think about it, we stitch pieces and then we end up having scraps of fabric, right? So why not sew some pieces together and stitch on it? Now I think in this case, there's 3 pieces here and they were stitched first and then joined together afterwards. But I'm thinking it might be easier to join them first and then stitch them later. Think back to Blue Bonnets and Whiskey. I believe that's her Flosstube. I can't think of her name right now. But she, remember the Berry Bowl sampler, that Beth Twist, and the Scarlett House. Tanya, is it Tanya her name? They did the Scarlett Bowl sampler, and you know, one did one side and one did the other, and then they joined them in the middle, and then there was that little cartouche thing that goes in the center. Well, Blue Bonnets and Whiskey, she put hers together first. She sewed it together, and she did a tutorial on that. So if you want to learn how to sew your fabrics together, your linens, or what other fabrics you might be using, I think, you know, you want them to be the same count. That might make things a little awkward, but I'm sure it's doable. If they're the same count, sew them together because you want them to line up, right? So check out Blue Bonnets and Whiskey for a tutorial on sewing your threads together. Now, Away We Ride. I'm not taking this out because everybody knows it. But I had to get this because I'm getting like FOMO, fear of missing out on some of the Blackbirds. Now, I will say this out loud and I will say this publicly. And I might be flogged at some point. But I do not like all Blackbird design charts. Okay, I didn't die. But... And I tend to be drawn more to the earlier ones where I think they used a brighter color palette. And recently, in recent years, they're using a more faded look. That is their aesthetic. They're beautiful pieces. they don't always appeal to me. And if I do buy those charts, I tend to color it up, which is fine, right? Because it's my piece. And that's what I have been doing. If you've been following me, you know the summer, autumn, and winter. I wanted to make the strawberries pop in spring, in summer, and I'm going to want the poinsettias to pop in the winter. And I just found the threads, the called for threads, seemed very muted. Perhaps that was the dye lot. I don't know. But this was a case where I wanted my projects to look brighter than the picture. Sometimes I want my projects to look like the picture, and sometimes I just use that as a guideline. Now for this one, I do like it. I do like all the colors. So we'll see how that goes. This one, I do like all the colors. But when I go to pull them, they might actually be more faded, right? Because of dye lots. But this is a lovely, very sweet chart with that little house. My heart can rest. Let's look at this one. My heart can rest. It's lovely. And here's the antique on the back, which, as I think a lot of you know, they don't do reproductions as much as they use. Hi, Welly. As they use an old sampler, they take elements from it to create a new sampler. Now, I made another loud noise in Because You Count when I came across this chart. Merry Christmas, because I've always wanted to do this one, and somebody just finished it. Celeste. I think there's only one Celeste on Flosstube, and she lives in Houston. You must know who I mean. Celeste Creates, is that what she goes by? But I do see, now I love the color palette of this chart. And when she showed hers, I was like, yes. And I believe she used the overdyes, because I think she tends to. But see, there's purple in this. And it's a small sampler. It's not a big one. It's 77 by 140. Beautiful. I love that one. And then the other big noise I made was when I found this booklet, because I had seen it at the store before. And they have Halloween specials when it's October, and I've seen it before, and I've looked at it, and I'm like, I don't know. But again, when the 50% thing, this is coming home with me. So this is Sisters, and there has been a sale recently. Emily C., Michelle, Cozy Egg, at First Cox Crow. They've been working on that one. Isn't that fun with the oranges? This past fall, like I'm telling you, I wanted to stitch all the things that had bright oranges in them. It's a great sampler. I mean, yeah, the face on that moon or whatever is a little, but there's no alphabet, which is nice. Kind of straight to the point. Are those tombstones? I haven't really looked that closely at it, to tell you the truth. But it's great. And I think this book features, I could be wrong, I think it's These samplers we have reproduced and used as inspiration were found in England and made by sisters with the last name of Shields. Although we don't know the first name of each girl, it is not hard to imagine the two sitting in the parlor with their heads bent over the needlework. So there's some other samplers in here as well. I don't know how much you can see that one. And then this one here. So these are original samplers. And then I think this is a case where this looks like this is a case where they have done reproductions of those two sister samplers. At First Cock's Crow looks very much the same. Oh, I see. Yeah, and so Barb incorporated most of the design elements used on H Shield sampler, but replaced the alphabet with the ghostly reminder, at first cock crow, the ghost must go back to the quiet graves below. I don't know if there's a picture in here of the, I don't think there's a picture in here of that one. But then the other well-known design. See, I've never had anybody really go through the books. I didn't know what else was really in here. But the Peace and Plenty, this is another one that's very popular because at Christmas time you see people working on this one. That one is great. The center tree and the two sister samplers made Barb think of Christmas. Once she charted the tree, the baskets followed, and Peace and Plenty is the result. Very nice. And then the last sampler in here is called Witch No More. And this now, I believe there is a family connection. The samplers of the Shield sisters inspired me to design a piece that memorialized a sister of my 11th great grandmother, Yanitye Varley. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that correctly. So, Welly, hi, how are you? So this is what it looks like. Isn't that great? So that's a lovely sampler. So this book came out and there's purple. That's a purple house. Oh my Lord, everything stops for a purple house. Old purple paint. I don't think old purple paint is that dark, is it? What year did this come out? Anyways, I'm very excited to have this book, as you can tell. 2013. Wunderbar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lovely pieces. I could see myself stitching all of those. Now, did I get through everything? I've been buying thread too, and I mean, everything was 50% off, so I was buying like the variations threads. I mean, they're so much fun. Oh, tail alert. Now, this is not that bright. This is more cranberry, and it's looking like orangey red there. But, so yeah, so I've been having fun the last few months. Buying things. Oh my Lord. Now there's one other thing that I did get that came in the mail. I have some other things coming. My Frances Eden is on the slow boat from Arizona. I ordered the chart, Frances Eden. They had a copy of it. And the fabric and the thread. So the whole kit is coming. It's been in Canada, according to the tracking, since October the 30th. But I don't know. It's in Vancouver. I don't know what happened in Vancouver. I don't know what's going on. So that's a little stressful because it's been in Canada for a month now and it's not here yet. I placed an order with Inspired Needle, and they are just out of Chicago. And I really enjoy their podcast, their Flosstube, Welly. I really enjoy their Flosstube, and they have a great website. And I thought their shipping wasn't that bad, so I thought I was going to give them a go. And I've got some Stacy Nash and Scarlett House and a few other treats coming from them. But this is what I'm going to leave you all with. Cue the music. I want to get this right. The Margaret Ann Rollo sampler that Krista Gramer of Just Stitching Along reproduced. I had to get this chart. And Caroline at Off the Grid Needlearts, Off the Grid Stitching. You know who I mean. The Evertote girl. They did a collaboration where Caroline had the bags, Krista had the charts, and you could buy it together, bag and the chart. I really was interested in the chart, and when I found out I could get the chart just by itself, let me tell you, I hit that PayPal button fast. And it came, and it's still in the envelope because I'm saving it for Christmas. I know what it looks like. It has Christmas colors. It's a Canadian sampler. We don't have a lot of those, so it's very special. And maybe there are a lot more Canadian samplers. We just haven't found them all yet. They just haven't been reproduced. But for this reason, it's special. And I said, this is going to be a Christmas present to you. So I'm going to wait to open it. So yeah. So I'm very excited that I got a copy of this chart and that it came, that it arrived. I was so scared it was going to get caught in the Toronto black hole of Canada Post because I've ordered stuff from different sellers in the area and they're not getting here. So I was so happy when they showed up, and it was so nice to support Caroline, who does so much for Flosstube, and it was so nice to support Krista Gramer with that beautiful chart. So on that note, I think I'm done. And I think I got some great finds. So exciting. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I will include my email address and my Instagram account name below. Feel free to stop by and tell me what you think. If there's anything you see there you'd like to do a stitch along, let me know, because I'm in the middle of trying to create a game plan for 2021. I did that for 2020 and then a global pandemic happened. So we'll see how that goes. But thanks for stopping by, and thanks for putting up with the feline antics. They always seem to they want to play when I'm trying to do this. But I think the lighting was a success this time, and I hope you enjoyed it. And take care. Be safe. Stay well. Enjoy your stitching. Make time for stitching. And yeah, it's all good. Take care. Bye.